In most occupations, 70% of the work could already be automated. But as a human performance scientist, I'm fascinated with that other 30%. The 30% is likely to be characterized by our most human capabilities. But these capabilities, they will not be expressed at their best with our current ways of living and working. Perhaps the real danger isn't that machines and artificial intelligence are going to start working more like humans. It's that we humans will keep trying to work like machines.
Dr. James Hewitt has worked with the world's most elite performers, from Formula One and professional cycling to Fortune 500 companies.
So what's the solution? Because our schedules feel packed, we've got back-to-back meetings, we're answering phone calls in the middle of the night. Well, I had a revelation. We need to approach knowledge work, that's work where we think for a living, as a cognitive endurance activity. Being clear about where to focus effort, knowing when to rest, finding and following our own rhythm. Optimize, don't maximize. I'm convinced that if we do, we might form the basis for something that I describe as regenerative performance. A self-perpetuating cycle of human thriving and sustainable high performance that enhances business performance.
Please welcome a scientist with a mission to help us achieve sustainable high performance without compromising our health in the process. Please welcome James Hewitt.
We need a framework to plan for cognitive endurance. And inspired by that simple structure to plan for physical endurance in endurance sport, I came up with a plan for cognitive endurance that I call cognitive gears. I feel compelled to explain what I'm wearing on my head. This is an EEG headset. I'd be recording my own brain activity, in particular my levels of stress and focus. Take a look at that yellow line. Continuous rhythms in focus. Now, perhaps you don't wear one of these EEG headsets routinely, but are you aware of your rhythms? But whether we consider those rhythms or not, cognitive performance actually varies by about 20% during the average day. That peak is the best time for focus, for analysis, and productivity. That valley is the best time for rest, for recovery, and reflection. Once upon a time, I think it was called a lunch break. And that rebound, it's a great opportunity for those menial tasks and the switching work that characterizes at least part of most knowledge workers' day. But we're not paying attention to those rhythms. And this is a problem, because we're likely limiting our cognitive performance as a result. It sounds so simple, but when you find that peak period in your day, maybe just once or twice a week, block an hour, block 2 hours, divide it into 25-minute blocks of focus with 5 minutes of recovery, repeat, and you will be amazed at how much you can get done. The next step, though, is we've somehow got to free up some time for this high gear work. And this leads me to talk about the cognitive middle gear. How can we reduce the inefficiency that compromises so much of our productivity? We'll begin by putting some boundaries around those switching tasks. Synchronize those menial tasks with the rebound in your day. And don't be among the 79% of people who start their day by checking their email, because starting the day with email is starting on someone else's schedule. If we were able to put some of these ideas into action, evidence indicates it could save us about 180 hours per year. You know, it's not just email that's causing us problems. How can we learn to recover proactively? I've got a question for you. When was the last time that you scheduled time to switch off? We'll begin by scheduling rest and reflection for the valley in your day. Remember, the most effective breaks are active, social, and natural. In the average organization, 22% of people exhibit burnout symptoms. That drops to just 2% when people adopt proactive recovery strategies. What's more, performance is boosted by 26%. Now, sometimes our most important work doesn't look like work at all. And the effect on the individual could be real focus, reduced stress, enhanced recovery. Well-being is set to become a business value of strategic importance. It often feels like well-being and performance are in conflict, but they are not. I'm convinced that in the future of work, it's going to be well-being that fuels business success. Thank you.